Hello and welcome. This is Super Evolution. We get some dialogue which tells us that Ming He was able to live the campus life he always wanted. We then see the great poetic path of the banyan trees, the vast practice field of grass, the lively street for students, and the library of the old school building. Switching over to the introduction of basic superhuman combat class. The professor tells the class that superhumans will possess a few basic abilities, and they should all know that superhumans are divided into 5 different ranks. The 5 ranks are White Dust, which is the lowest, the Blue Spirit, Violet Soul, Red Sovereign, and Black Saint, which is the highest. He then asks the class, what kind of ability does the White Dust rank have? Professor Xiaoling is his name, and he calls out Fang near wrong, who is the same girl that was on the train with Ming He. She answers the question by saying that the physique is different from a normal person, and they could also exceed some athlete limitations if they train hard. The professor says that she is correct and tells the class that athletes that had strength, speed, and precision used to be the limits of the human body. In the superhuman era there and now, most superhumans can surpass athletes because it's the basic ability of the White Dust rank, which is called super physique. Of course, there is different White Dust characteristics like someone having faster speed or someone having greater strength. He says that the normal standards of their institute is strength, speed, reaction, and real combat, but as long as you could reach at least one of them, you will be good. A student asked the professor about a classmate that got a White Dust rank and has the standard strength and reaction speed, but didn't get a higher rank. Ming He notices the guy's question, and then the professor tells the class that they are about to go into that. Blue Spirit rank is the next one, and everyone at the institute should know that abilities of the Blue Spirit rank. He says that even though they might know it, he will still have to go over it in detail. Not only do the Blue Spirit superhumans have the super physique like White Dust rank, they also have another special power. He asks the class which student can demonstrate the special ability. A girl gets up and raises her hand, saying that she will do it. Her power is glaring light, which is basically darkness. She tells the class to close their eyes, but the professor asked her if she could release a small amount since the class won't be able to see the spirit art. The girl then accepts and tells everyone that she can control the intensity of the light. She then uses her power, which made a bright light. We see Ming He closing his eyes since the light was very bright. The professor tells the class that they don't need to panic since they will recover their sight in a minute or two. Ming He starts to open his eyes, but he could barely see. Professor continues to talk and explains that this girl had an explosive type spirit art. He then explains that the special power could be a key force in a real battle, which can inflict some serious damage on her enemies and maybe cause some unexpected effects. The powers need to be used skillfully and numbly by every Blue Spirit superhuman. He explains that spirit arts are consuming a lot of their physical and mental strength, so even though they have a superior power compared to White Dust ranks, they will still need to cultivate their super physique. A student then asked about the Violet Soul rank. The professor says that the Violet Soul superhumans have all the lower rank powers. The student then says that the number of students that have Violet Soul rank powers at their institute shouldn't be a lot. The professor says that the soul arts are hard to explain in just a few words, and then says that different soul arts require different prerequisites. It's kind of like Ming He's power, which needs to be activated by landing a certain amount of punches on his targets, you know what I mean? He tells the class that other soul arts could be related to their spirit arts, which could be understood as making their spirit art 10 times more stronger. Not too long ago, the professor received a recording of an actual combat during the special admission, which could have a demonstration of a soul art. He's not showing the class the video to prove how powerful the soul arts are and tells everyone to watch closely. He then asks the students near the blinds to shut them and turn off the lights for the class. We then see Ming He, which his face is blurred out since they didn't get permission from him. Ming He thinks to himself that it is good since he didn't want to become famous this early. Some of the students see the soul art that Fang used against Ming He and they are shocked. Someone thought that his soul art is like a mini version of a natural disaster, which is terrifying. Fang starts to think that the person on the recording is similar to Ming He. The professor tells everyone to pay attention to Kai's superpower. He says the Gale Whip and the Wind Python are accumulating the wind element in his surroundings. He explains that Kai's power needs to reach a certain intensity to display his soul art. Ming He then figures out that Kai couldn't use his soul art when he was using his fist to disperse the wind pythons, which means that the chance at defeating him would be greater. The students start to think that Ming He is going to get torn apart by the wind. They all look with shock and ask if the person is even human. They see that Ming He dispersed Kai's soul art with just one punch. Fang then looks at Ming He, but the professor said that the person only used his spirit art. He then tells the class that based on the person's previous combat, they assume that his power could absorb any medium in his surroundings, and the stronger that medium is, the stronger his spirit art will become. A student asked if the violet soul art should be at least 10 times stronger than the spirit arts and questions how was he able to even do that. The professor tells him that there is 2 factors. One of them is the foundation of that student, which Ming He got the highest 3 out of the 4 standards. He tells the class that the white dust rank gives the person a super physique, which they will start training that day after tomorrow. Also, the stable your super physique is, the stronger your spirit art and soul art will be. He says that the superhuman capabilities aren't just measured by the standards such as ranks. He tells the class that if a white dust superhuman trained his super physique to the extreme, they could even be a black saint superhuman. The students start to ask who the person is in the video, and one even says that he could be everyone in their class. A student says that it's just a spirit art, and if he ended up displaying his soul art, he might be able to destroy a small mountain. It's actually crazy because they are just hyping our boy up like to the extreme right now. The professor then closes his laptop and tells the class that after explaining all of that and showing them the video, he believes that all of them understood the purpose of that class. He tells everyone that a person's limit isn't determined by what talent they have, even if it's a white dust rank. As long as they apply it perfectly, it will be good, or else the highest ranked talent can be easily destroyed. The class is now over. We switch to the outside of the buildings and Ming He and Fang are walking. Fang calls out Ming He's name and asked him if he was the person in the video. He says that the video was blurry, so how could she tell if it was him? She tells him that he wasn't a student when they first met, but he was sitting next to her in the class. It would only be possible if he passed the admission exam. Ming He tells her that there was a lot of people who went through the exam. She then remembers when Ming He used his power against the Calamity Demon. He says that a lot of people use fists, including Teacher Yu. We then see Saitama with his shiny head when Ming He said that a lot of people use fists. Then someone talks on the speakers and tells everyone that the astronomy team noticed a small meteor passing through the atmosphere. The trajectory is estimated to go towards Xiaoling in Nandu. They tell the villagers of Xiaoling to evacuate and the frontline commanders will need to prepare for battle. The rear coordinators need to set up the police cordons and organize the backup team. Fang and Ming He's phone start to buzz at the same time. Fang answers her phone and someone tells her that she was selected as a member of the backup team. She then asks the person if they got instructions for her. We then see Ming He looking at his phone and it's Luo Lin who ended up calling him. She tells him that the Calamity is determined to be a group of demons and it will be more than 10,000 Calamity demons. The front line will deal with them, but as a Dragon Tooth agent, they will need him on standby at all times to handle anything that is unpredictable. He understands and asks her where he needs to go. She tells him that he is just for emergencies and he will be fine as long as he doesn't get hurt in combat. She tells him not to leave Nandu without permission and not to accept another mission for a few days. He then says okay and starts to walk off. Ming He enters a dormitory and he hears someone saying something. The person talking is Shan Yuan and he asked if Li Jin is a member of the rescue team. The person answers back at Shang and tells him to forget it since they are all roommates and the institute made it clear that preparing students will be given preferential treatment. Shang then notices that Ming He is back. Ming He tells them that he arrived a few days late and missed out on some things, and then asks what are preparing students. Wang Jia tells him that the astronomy team should announce it every time a calamity appears, and at the rate things are going, the government, hunters, institutes, and villagers will have to take action soon. He says that when a calamity grade 5 or above lands, they will send out all 4 parties to conduct an investigation and combat preparations. Ming He tells him that he was from a small city, so there wasn't that many calamity occurrences. He tells Ming He that all the calamities in the area managed by Nandu and the Nandu Super Institute is the head of the institutes. He says that becoming a preparing student is a very good thing. Zhang then gets up and asks what is crazy about being a member of the rear combat preparation, and you may not even see the demon shadows. He then boasts about his brother being a main combat personnel which could see the meteor crater and get to fight the demons head on. He calls Li Jin a mere member of the rear combat preparation team, which is only responsible for doing odd jobs for the frontline combat personnels. Wang asked him if his brother is really that powerful. He then said that he heard that the frontline personnel are given special treatment, which is having 1 bedroom and 1 living room at the institute. There is even a butler that will help you with the cleaning and the laundry. Zhang tells them that the luxury apartment complex is the one with the lake view, which is where the frontline personnel lives. Wang then thinks of the place and we see the view of the lake. Okay, just to let you know that I don't really know who is talking in this current moment, like after that part. So yeah, just bear with me. Zhang tells them that when he was walking around there, he saw Nandu's famous goddess head in there. She seems to be a part of the frontline personnel, and it turns out that she also lives there. Ming He starts to question on who is the goddess they are talking about. Wang tells him that even the people outside of the institute knows the 3 goddesses. He then explains that the first one is the ice princess called Tang Ning. The next one is the martial arts saintess called Fang. The third one is the dancing thunder girl called Luo Chian. Ming He questions the titles since they are bold and exaggerative. Wang tells him that the titles were given to them by people from the institute and based it off their superpowers. It was even said that everyone who sees their powers won't think of anything wrong with their titles. Ming He says that it seems he's been riding on Luo Chian's coattail, and then he says that he was her high school classmate. Wang tells Ming He to just call Luo Chian his girlfriend. It's funny how he says that because Luo Chian is his girlfriend, but Ming He doesn't know that she is dating him yet. And it still pisses me off to this day that the fact that he still doesn't know and she still didn't really confirm it with him, you know? Zhang tells him that all the people at the institute address them as wifeys. Ming He says that she really was his classmate. Zhang tells Ming He not to use that reason to deceive the room facing the girls' dormitory building. Wang agrees with Zhang and says that if he knows Luo Chian, why can't he win against the entire girls' dormitory? Ming He gets up and says fine while he walks away to return to his room. We then see Ming He sitting down on his bed while he closes his eyes. He starts to enter the imaginatory space where the goddess resides. He asks the goddess who his opponent is for today. She opens her eyes and tells Ming He that the mutant Dr. Zhao is no longer a suitable opponent for him. She tells him that his contact range of opponents is too narrow, so she can't obtain a lot of data. He would need to come in contact with other kinds of demons, and that is the only way she will be able to create more simulated opponents. Ming He tells her about the demon invasion, and it happens to be a lot of demons at Xiaoling. She tells him to go take a look, but he says that he is currently on a standby phase. I really don't know what the point was for telling her that, just because he's already on a standby phase, so you can't go do anything. Like at that point, you're just letting her know, hey, yeah, by the way, there's demons, but I can't go kill them, so my bad. She tells him that he could be an idler and walk around because without any new data and new opponents, there is no point in practicing. He says that after joining the institute, he will need to join a preparation team in order to come in contact with demons. She says that he is also a hunter, so he could take private work and increase his experience. And then she says that he should just wait for the standby phase to end. She tells Ming He that his second dominant power slot has been open, and once he obtains a life drop, he will be able to get a second type superpower. Ming He questions what the goddess just said with a shocked face. He questions if the life drop can allow him to obtain superpowers. She tells him that the life drop could be attained from a leader of the demon lair, or he could buy it if he got lots of money. Ming He tells her that he doesn't have a lot of money. She says that the wealthy rely on technology while the poor rely on mutating. She says that he met the unique her sense of his luck. We then see Spider-Man and the Flash while he tells the goddess about other people being bitten by a spider or getting struck by lightning. Ming He was hit by a big meteorite, but he has to level up one rank at a time, and then asked if she could just give him a full rank gift package. She tells him that those things are all in movies. He says that he is going to idle away anyway, so she might as well spawn in a few opponents for him to fight. She then tells Ming He if he is a maniac and why doesn't he go on dates or enjoy his university life. She asked if he isn't familiar with most of the area since he is new there, and then he agrees. Ming He then looks at his mask and tells her that he wanted to take a look around the campus long ago. We then switch over to the free training grounds and Ming He thinks that he could find opponents to practice with. The goddess calls Ming He a hopeless cultivation maniac. We see Ming He's jacket hanging on a sign that says spirit arts are not allowed and to take care of the grass. Ming He is about to start a duel with another student. The guy tells him that his fists are dangerous, so Ming He needs to be careful. You know, I sometimes feel bad for the people that are going against Ming He, especially when they talk all that smack being like, yeah, you need to be careful since my fists are powerful. Buddy, do not understand that your opponent is the main character. Like, you are gonna get smacked around. Ming He told him to go ahead and the guy starts charging at him. He dodges the attack very easily while also thinking that the guy he's facing can't even compare to those simulated opponents. He thinks of this as his warm-up since he has free time anyway. At the same time, on field 3, we see two students fighting. We see a female fighting a beast-looking type person. The girl throws a kick up to her opponent and we see her jump up to the opponent and kick him back down. The beast-type student asked if the opponent had to be so ruthless while they were sparring. We see that it's the martial arts phoenix girl Fang. She calls out for her next opponent, but when she asks people to come fight her, the people start to run away. She then gets sad that no one wanted to come fight her. She walks over to a guy that is sitting down and tells him that it wasn't really a sweat today. He tells her that with her strength, she is just playing around with weaklings. He asked her if she knows if people call her martial arts phoenix girl. She tells him that it's none of her business that they call her that. When she used to come there, she would be able to warm up, but now she can't even do that anymore. He tells her that she is progressing too fast, and he ended up seeing a guy in field 1 that looks pretty powerful. She then says to forget it since she isn't interested anymore, but then she looks over at Ming He's fight. We see him dodging and then grabbing his opponent's hand while kicking his leg, which makes him trip. The guy looks up with tears in his eye. Fang then changes her mind and then takes off her hoodie. She says that Ming He's martial arts aren't that bad and she thinks that he will only last 2 or 3 minutes. It's crazy because all the people so far have underestimated Ming He, like it's actually baffling. The guy that is with Fang tells her that he thinks that Ming He will last longer since he looked at him for a while. She asks if he doesn't believe her and then decides to make a bet. The bet is if Ming He could last 3 minutes, she will follow his harsh training methods. She comes up to Ming He and tells him that she will have a round with him. Ming He says to come on as they both get into fighting stances. Fang rushes at Ming He, but he didn't expect that speed from her. She sends a kick to his head, but Ming He managed to dodge it. She tells him that he has good reflexes, and then Ming He tells her that she isn't that bad herself. He then throws a punch to her, which pushes her back a little. She thinks that it's very good and then jumps up to throw a kick, but Ming He is already ready to throw a punch. Both of their attacks collide and a person that is watching calls them maniacs while another person asks if they are even human. Ming He's punch is still going and Fang backflips to get some distance. The guy tells her that 3 minutes have passed. We see her foot tingling and then she tells Ming He that he is strong and underestimated him. Ming He also underestimated her as well. She tells him to go again, which then they both do. He is now on the offensive and starts to throw wind punches, but she dodges with her swift shadow. She thinks that she has to distance herself from him to gain the initiative. Ming He sees what she's trying to do, but then activates his second round explosive speed. They continue to clash while the people in the crowd say that they can't see their movements at all, but they comprehend each other's moves. He calls their speed, strength, and reflexes all perfect. We then see the guy with Fang get a phone call. He tells Fang that there is an emergency mission. Both Ming He and Fang then stop while the guy calls out her name. The people in the crowd start to get excited since they're seeing a goddess. She tells Ming He that she has to go, but they should fight next time, and then tells him that she comes here every Wednesday morning. Ming He then says okay. Fang is on the phone and she tells the person that she will be there soon. We then get a name for the guy, which is Uncle Yuan. She asked him to ask for Ming He's name since she couldn't ask because she was in a hurry. He says okay, but then we see Ming He already left. We see Ming He walking as he thinks that random girl he just faced is that fierce, so he needs to work harder. He then asked what the girl name was, but he didn't hear it since there was a lot of people at the field, but it sounded like Fang Li. We see some news about how the efforts of the 4 parties defeated the Red Demon. The villagers that had to leave are now allowed to go back to their homes. They gave a special thanks to the 13 students from Nandu Institute since they made a world-breaking contribution. We then see Shang pointing at the TV and saying that the person doing the interview is his brother. Wang tells him to let him see with an excited look on his face. He calls them cool and says that he also wants to be on TV since the entire institute is talking about them. Shang asks Li Jin if he even has the qualifications to be on the front line. He also asked how the job search is going in the back. Someone asks Shang why he is acting so haughty. We see Li for the first time and he tells Shang that his brother is the one being commended and asks what it has to do with him. He starts to get angry with Li and Wang comes over to tell him not to be mad. He tells him that they're all roommates and then switches the conversation. He asked if Shang was done packing his stuff, but he doesn't know why he should be packing. Wang tells him that it's for the wilderness training, which is like a military training in college. He says that it's required for all the freshmen and then questions if they all forgot. Shang tells him that he forgot and he will need to prepare some more necessities. Wang calls over to Ming He and asks if he needs to pack as well. Ming He tells him that he is already all set. We see the TV again and Luo Chian is on while the person tells them that they all thank the students again. We switch over to the classroom and the professor tells them about the training plan. He tells everyone to listen carefully. After they negotiate with the government, they will choose their location for the training. It will be Xiaoling as their wilderness training grounds. A girl asked why they have to go to that kind of place since there are so many mosquitoes and bugs and they will have to live in a farmhouse. Another person asked if a battle just ended there, but the professor tells them not to treat this training as an autumn outing. According to the news from the Hunters Association, the red demons from Xiaoling have a spawning ability. The incubation and the growth speed are also quite fast. Although all the fully grown red demons have already been eliminated, the eggs are an enormous hidden danger to the residents. He tells them that the freshmen who haven't stepped into society will end up cleaning it up. A person says that they are giving them all the tiring work and another person asks why can't they just let the criminals clean it up. Shang tells the class that they need to clean Xiaoling 100% so it's safe. Since they are superhumans, they shouldn't look down on the work related to protecting the people. If there are any more remaining red demons in Xiaoling, they will need to report it to the institute and the government. Shang laughs and tells Wang if they could find and fight the remaining red demons and kill it, it'll count as merit. Wang tells him that he is right and freshmen like them have little to no experience with dealing with red demons, so they should have started odd jobs. The professor tells them that they haven't selected a class leader yet. He heard that Fang performed well in the rear combat team, which earned praise from the uppers. He says that they should choose Fang as their class leader and asked if anyone has any objections. He tells them as of the other class committee members, he will choose them based on their performance. He says that the weekly meeting for today will end and everyone can go prepare for the trip to Xiaoling. They left the building and we see Ming He noticed a missed call from Luo Chian. He calls her up and tells her that he is sorry and his class just ended. She tells him that she is at the cafe they were at before and asked him if he wants to come over. He said okay, and she also said okay. Wang heard Ming He's call and he comes over to tell him that he couldn't tell if he already had a girlfriend. Ming He tells him that she is just his classmate and not his girlfriend. Guys, when I was reading this, it just pissed me off so much. It's just, Ming He still doesn't understand the feelings that she has. Like, can you not see her face? Does she not blush every time she's around you? Like, what is going on? Do you not see this? Like, is it just me? Or like, obviously, like, he's just that dumb. Shang tells him that she was talking so gently to him and this relationship isn't normal. Look, I'm glad he said something, but how the hell did he hear anybody's voice, like, on that phone? He was not near him enough to hear that voice. There's no shot he has superhuman hearing. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Ming He tells him that there is no relationship and he has already been given the good person card. Okay, one last time. I do not know where he got this good person card from or whatever. Maybe it was that one dude, that blue-haired dude that ended up giving him the card that was in the flowers, maybe when he woke up and read it. I don't know, but like, where was all this? Like, it was not shown at all. Shang tells him that he thought he already had a girlfriend, but it turns out that he is just a simp. Wang asked who it is, and maybe it's his imaginary classmate, Luo Chian. Ming He tells him that it's her, and he is going to see why she is looking for him. He asks them if they could help him bring back his book to the dormitory and says thanks. Wang tells Shang since they got nothing to do, even if they go back, they should go over to look. He says sure and says he wants to see Ming He act like a simp. Wang asked if Lee is coming, but he responds by calling it boring. He tells them that he is going back to reading and he doesn't want to live with them in their trashy dormitory next semester. Shang gets mad and asks what Lee said. Wang tells him to just forget it and they can't lose track of Ming He, but Shang asks if Lee is a burlap sack since he is so full of pretense. Wang tells him that they should go and asked him if he wants to see Ming He's humble appearance when facing a girl. Shang tells him that he is very angry. We switch over to the cafe and we see Ming He and Luo Chian sitting down. Ming He says that he saw her get commended. She tells him that the seniors in the team are the powerful ones and she is just there to make up the numbers. He asked her if she got hurt, but she replies with a no. He tells her that it's good and asked her if she was looking for him for something urgent. No, Ming He, she wasn't looking for you for something urgent. You're her damn boyfriend. You should go see her, but obviously you don't know that. So it's okay, I guess. Luo starts to blush and tells him that it's nothing special. She thinks to herself that she will put aside the fact that he didn't contact her after he entered the institute. Okay, look, you would think she would tell him, hey, are we even dating? Like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? But no, she's just letting it slide. She's just going with it. Like, I don't know what she's doing. He is even talking so weirdly to her and she questions if they are even dating. She brings up the freshman training and tells him that the institute wants her to be a teaching assistant for them. She agreed and told him that when the time comes, she would go with them to Xiaoling. We then see Wang and Shang looking at Ming He and Luo Chian. They think that Luo Chian is really Ming He's classmate. Luo tells him that it's just this matter. He tells her that it is good since now they could see each other often. She then asked him if they should go watch a movie. Since she's been staying on the front lines for 10 days, her roommate told her that her mental state is a bit strained, so she told her to go watch a movie. Wang and Shang are both getting angry since Luo Chian is the one taking initiative to watch the movie. Ming He agrees and tells her that she is right since there should be a balance between work and rest. He tells her that he could recommend her a comedy to watch and he heard the reviews are really good. She asked him if he has anything going on, but he said that all he has is training. She asked if he isn't planning on going to the movies with her. Ming He then responds and tells her that works as well. Wang and Shang spit out their drinks and asked how a goddess could be so humble when facing a man. He tells her that he has a friend that said that he is a cultivation maniac. He gets up and he says that he guesses that it's time to go watch a movie and let's go. She agrees and they both walk off while Wang and Shang are both crying. They fall to the floor and says that they can't accept this. She even took the initiative to call him and invite him to drink coffee. She also invited him to go watch a movie. They feel like their goddess is simping for Ming He. We We switch over to Xiaoling and we see all the freshman students while some of the villagers give their thanks and give them some food. We see Fang and she tells Ming He that the teacher wants to see him, which he then says okay. He starts to move to the front and we see Dean Meng and Director Shi. Ming He says hello to the dean and he tells Ming He that one of the military instructors is looking for him and he should go see them. He says yes and he starts to go over. He then sees Luo Lin and she says hello to him and he is surprised that she is there too. She tells him that she comes to Nandu Institute every year as a training instructor to guide all the freshmen. It is kinda like a vacation for her since commanding battles are very exhausting. He asked her if there is any special instructions and she tells him no. Other than coaching for wilderness combat and wilderness survival, keeping the freshmen safe is the most important thing for her and their team. Ming He tells her that she worked hard. She tells him that it was nothing and it's not like she doesn't know his abilities. She tells him as a member of Dragontooth, he is more than qualified to be an instructor for the freshmen. She says that she knows he wants to enjoy his college life, so she won't expose him, but he was in a hurry when he left and she also had a lot of missions to do. She didn't have time to explain the situation to him, but he asked what situation. She said the Dragontooth situation, although the members of Dragontooth are independent, she must tell him the extent of his authority. He questions the extent, which she tells him that if he thought the team she made him join was a small and random one. She asked if he knows how many super soldiers who are out there who would kill to join the Dragontooth, but they don't even know where to find the applications to fill it out. He asked her to tell him his authority, which is over Group B. He has the commanding power of his executing district and reserve personnel for the institute and government. They would have to follow his dispatches, but if the frontline members are in his commanding district, they will still need to follow his arrangements first. Ming He questions the executing district, and she tells him that it's the district he carries out a mission in. For example, Xiaoling is his district right now. He tells her that he isn't carrying out any orders and she tells him that she is telling him his mission right now. She says that she will have 2 missions this time and the safety of the students in the wilderness is their top priority. Since Ming He is a member of Dragontooth and is a group of freshmen, he would naturally need to assist the government with that part. Ming He says that it's no problem and even if he wasn't from Dragontooth, he would still do it. He questions the second mission, but she tells him that he doesn't need to know the second mission right now, but when the time comes, she will tell him more. He tells her that he will now go back to the team line. She tells him to go and to keep his Dragontooth identity a secret for now. He thinks that it's even better since he likes a low profile. We then see a mountain with all the students while they are setting up their tents. A blonde-haired girl says that she thought they were going to live on a farm, but instead they're out in the middle of nowhere. She asked who could get used to sleeping in a tent, and even the signal there is weak, and asked how are they going to survive. The teacher tells the students that camping is the basic skill in the wilderness. He says that everyone must learn from the instructors seriously and asks them if they understood. At that same time, I think we see Zhang and Wang looking at Luo Chian. A bunch of boys gathered around Luo Chian and one is even taking a picture. We see Ming He and he says that his tent is set up and next he must sprinkle some bug repellent powder. We then saw instructor Zhu Qi and he is pouring bug repellent. He says that this is the wild animal line and most animals have a keen sense of smell and are afraid of forest fires, so they won't get close if they end up smelling something charred. Of course, they should make sure the ashes are completely burnt so they won't catch on fire easily. The blonde-haired girl says that they all are superhumans and asks why would they be afraid of some wild animals. Zhu tells them that the wild animals have the possibility of going through evolutionary mutation if they eat the dead Calamity Beast meat. He tells them that they have seen a 10-meter tall Calamity Mutant Beast bear before. He says that it's good since they were pitching camps collectively. If they are alone or if there are few people on their team when on a mission, those details must be carried out well. It could save their lives when it's crucial. Someone says they are going to burn some more ashes and another person asked if they could burn some more since they want some as well. We see groups of people sitting down next to the campfires. A person asked if the instructor had any frightening experiences. She tells them that the most frightening experience she had would have been the Calamity Emperor Beast. At that time, she was also a student. We then see when she was younger and she is looking at the Calamity Beast. She says that it was more than 10 kilometers away and the Calamity Demon was as tall as the mountains. At the time, everyone in the city thought the mountains were moving towards them. That said, the city was abandoned and ended up becoming a nest for the Calamity Demons. It was fortunate that most of the citizens evacuated safely. A student asked her what was the Calamity Beast's class level. Hey, sorry, yeah, I don't know if you were paying attention or not, but she literally said it was an Emperor class. Like, did you not hear that when she started the story? She tells them that it was an Emperor class, and another student asked her if the humans really defeated it. A couple of super leaders were sacrificed during the battle, including the dean from Nandu Institute. The professor tells the students to rest up, and tomorrow they will start to clean up the battlefield. It is now morning time, and the professor tells everyone to wake up and to divide into 10 small groups based on their class. A purple-haired girl tells everyone that the instructors will take them on a morning run in the mountains to warm up. After that, they will come back to eat their breakfast. She tells them that she will be responsible for their group and they will have to keep up with her. Her name is Miao Lan and she is one of the instructors. She tells the group if they fall behind, they will only eat steamed buns today. Shang says that it isn't even hard, and another person agrees and says that everyone there is superhuman and their physiques aren't bad. Miao says that the teacher or teaching assistant will be at the back of the team, and if they fall behind, they will need to follow them and finish running the course. She then tells everyone to start, and so she starts to run. They are in the forest, and we see Shang and Ming He is keeping up, but she is very fast. By the way, I don't know if that's actually Shang, but I'm just assuming, so if it isn't, just let me know. They continue to run while Ming He is a little bit behind her. They jump over a wall while Ming He is keeping up his pace behind her. We then see a person fall off the wall, and the person that is falling asked who pushed him. They reach a river while Miao, Fang, Ming He, Li, and another person is still up front. They jump on the rocks to cross the river, and Ming He is still in first place. By the way, I know it's not a competition, but you know, our boy is the main character after all, so like if he didn't get first place, I'll kind of be a little disappointed, you know? We see some of the other students fall and slip on the rocks. We see the sun coming up on the mountain they are running on. Miao then stopped, and Li asked why they stopped since she doesn't need to wait for them because they could keep up. She tells him that they all four can, but not the rest of the students, so they will need to wait for the rest of the students and tells them to rest up a little bit. We see Liang Dong, Li, Ming He, and Fang. They question how Ming He didn't even break a sweat. We finally see some other students catching up, and Wang and Zhang are both sweating and dying since they are tired. A person says that they have been waiting for almost 5 minutes. Miao says that most of the students have arrived, so they can now continue. Some of the students question if they are running again and asked if they could rest a little bit longer while asking the instructor to wait. Miao tells the students that the breakfast isn't ready yet and everyone should take a break. Fang says it seems like every class has a couple of exceptional students. Those said students have easily adapted to the intense morning run. Li tells her that it's to be expected since those students are the best in their respected cities. Liang sits on a rock and tells them that those students who attend Nandu's Superhuman Institute should be the best. He says that he is from Lu City and he asks the others where are they from. Li tells him that he grew up in Nandu, which Liang calls him awesome, and then asks Fang. She tells him that she is from Lanyang, and Ming He also said that he is from there too. Liang says whoa and asked if they are from the same city, which they both said yeah. He then smells food and tells the rest of them that the food is ready and they should go eat together. After breakfast, Luo tells the students that their next task is to go along the path they went on when they were running that morning. They need to conduct a detailed 1 kilometer search around the area. She tells them not to leave a single stone unturned and to check every nook and cranny. Their job is to clean up the demon eggs, and if they discover a hidden red demon, do not act alone. If they do find one, they would need to go to a designated location and fire a signal flare. That flare will notify the teachers and instructors about what is happening. She asked them if they understood, and they all agreed. The teacher tells them that their grade on this will be counted towards their credits and then tells them to do their best. The students get excited and says understood and let's go. This guy is nice, and Liang says that since they are one group, they should decide on a plan. Li tells them that during their morning run, he ended up observing many shrubs downstreams. He also did his homework on red-eyed demons, and they like wet areas with lots of shrubs. They have the same habitat like the snakes do. A girl in their group speaks up and calls Li amazing since they were out of breath during the morning run, but he could still observe so much. Liang says that aimlessly searching won't get them anywhere, so they will follow Li's advice and search the shrubs downstream. They say okay, and then we switch over to the forest. A person says that the shrubs are dense and tall, and maybe they could use their spirit art to cut them down. Fang tells them that it isn't necessary since they could just use their hands, and since they're in the wild, they shouldn't waste their spirit art. Li tells them not to worry about it, and they could use their spirit arts to clear a path since if there is danger, the rest of the group will deal with it. Listen Li, I respect what you're trying to do here. You're trying to prove that you are a leader, but let me be honest with you. Fang, she is the president of the class or whatever she was elected as, okay? The fact that you are overruling what she just said is bull. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. They say okay, and the person thinks that it's fun. Fang then talks to Ming He and tells him that he didn't finish speaking and asks what was he going to say. He tells her that the instructor said that there was a possibility that a red demon is still hiding there. The cutting of the grass will startle them and expose their location, which will scare the other demons away. She says that the instructor did, and he is right. He tells her that it's whatever since there is a small chance of them appearing. Most likely, the instructors performed a preliminary sweep of the area before they let them come there. She questions on the sweep and how would he even know. He tells her that it's the instructor's first time there as well, but they still managed to lead them down a path in their morning run and brought them back. It's obvious that when everyone was sleeping last night, they sent a group of instructors to explore the path and investigate their surroundings. She questions what they're even needed for. He says that the eggs are small, so they should try to find the eggs through instruments or a lot of people searching. Most likely, the demon eggs are like snake eggs, so the instruments won't be able to detect them. She says ah, but Ming He stops. He tells her that they didn't investigate this area last night. She questions why, and then she turns and sees a red-eyed demon. She looks a little bit scared, but Ming He stops himself and hears a scream. Fang and Ming He start to rush over to the others and ask what is wrong. The blonde-haired girl tells them that there are demon eggs, and Li says that there are a lot of them. Fang tells them that a red-eyed demon just ambushed her and Ming He. Li questions where, and she tells him that it ran away, and it was supposed to attack, but then suddenly turned and dipped. Li asked which direction it ran in, since they need to chase after it, because it could be a good opportunity. Ming He tells him that it's already far away, and since it's hiding in the shrubs, it will be difficult to find. The top priority is to notify the instructors so they could do a concentrated search around the area. Li tells him that it's just a red-eyed demon and asks why they are being so afraid, which another guy hops in and agrees, since they will get a better grade if they kill it. I'm actually a little disappointed in Li. You know, I thought he was gonna be the smart one and immediately say, yeah, let's go get the instructors, but nah, he's trying to make fun of Ming He, who fought a Lord rank mutant. It's like, you know what, you could piss off. Ming He says no, since the demons are extremely dangerous. It isn't convenient to move around in that environment since it could hide anywhere it wants. He tells them that they need to call more people over to be safe. Li asked why Ming He is being a coward and how could he be on the front lines in the future. Fang agrees with Ming He and tells them that they should listen to him. Li then agrees and tells him that since he's fast, he should go inform the instructors and not to let the demon get away. Ming He says okay and starts to run. He then shoots up the flare and the instructor comes over and asks if he found any eggs. He tells him that they found a demon hiding around the shrubs. The instructor questions it, but Ming He tells him yeah. He then asked about the other classmates and then they hear a scream. Ming He jumps off the cliff and tells the instructor to call reinforcements. The instructor asks what is he doing since he could be the one getting help and he should be the one that goes and save them. He then goes on his tablet and tells all the teachers near the river to come to the red signal point since a red demon has been found and students are getting hurt. We see Ming He rushing over and then a red-eyed demon appears in front of him. He then punches it, but it gets mad. But he grabbed it and then threw it on the floor. He grabs it again and says that he miscalculated since there is more than one while slamming it on the floor. He says that the instructors who came in first most likely missed a hidden nest. He then hears someone calling out to save them, which he then starts running and says that someone is nearby. He heard it again and looked around, but then he saw a human-looking snake coming out of a cave while it says to save it. Ming He thinks to himself that it could mimic human cries for help while he sees more red demons coming around him. He thinks that he needs to kill them quickly since the others were probably tricked by that sound too. The demon then bites a root which opens up a large hole in the ground. Ming He says that it's not good and we see him land on the floor. He calls the nest big and said that this is where they were hiding during the sweep. We see that it's raining and storming down on the mountain area. Luo says that it's getting misty while the girl next to her says that the students found a red-eyed demon's nest. The lady told her that the mountains are humid because it's raining and this fog appeared to be normal. Luo said that this isn't normal mist. She then gets serious and tells the teachers and professors to evacuate all the students. They understood and we see Professor Zhang, Luo Chian, and Miao. Luo told the others that the red-eyed demon are located right up there. Miao thinks to herself about the mist. The professor that contacted them told the group that Ming He, Fang, and Li are still in there. He said that it will be difficult to locate them all. He told them to be on standby, but Luo says Ming He's name. Miao says that the others will be there soon and to prioritize the students' evacuation. The commander tells Miao to evacuate from Xiaoling immediately. She tells her that the students are trapped in the bushes and there has been sightings of red-eyed demons. The commander tells her that it's an order and then she understood. Zhang tells Miao that they must head in to save the students. She tells him that an unknown calamity is approaching Xiaoling. The orders they have are from CP and they're telling them to retreat immediately. Zhang questions the unknown calamity. She tells him that it's estimated to be at grade 6 or higher and they must evacuate at once or it could lead to even greater tragedy. Luo Chian tells the two that she will head in and they should go gather the group members and evacuate them. They say alright and we switch back to the hole Ming He is in. Ming He heard someone calling his name. He questions if the voice is Luo Chian and she yells to him where is he at. She tells him that it's getting foggy up there and she can't find him. She asked if he was alright and Ming He tells her to stay back. He tells her that the vines beside her feet might lead to emptied out floors and to be careful not to fall. She tells him that it's getting foggy up in Xiaoling and the commander ordered everyone to evacuate immediately. The mist is most likely the same one behind the person's disappearance in Xishan Industrial Park and it's dangerous. He tells her that he is doing fine, but some of the other students might have been lured by the red-eyed demons into their nest. He asked her to please go find and help the others, and he will be out once he's taken care of something in there. She then tells Ming He to be careful, and he tells her to be careful as well. We then see the human-looking snake standing in front of Ming He. He says that the way it mimics human voices and sets up traps to lure in its enemies, he could easily tell that it's the head honcho. He questions the snake's plan and if it's to hide behind the little snakes and come out to strike once they soften him up. He then calls it a sneaky bastard. He starts to run forward while he tells the human-looking snake that hiding behind them won't help it out. The snakes are getting ready to pounce at Ming He, but he jumps towards the big human snake and tells it to taste his fist. He then punches it, but it managed to block it, but it still ended up getting sent back from the force of the punch. It crashed into the eggs and it then started getting angry. The tiny snakes popped up and Ming He asked if they really think they could stop him. He grabs the vines and then he used his spirit art burst. He then throws a vine-wrapped mystic punch down to the ground which ended up binding the snakes. He says that he made himself look weak so he could take them all down in one fell swoop. He then twisted his hand which crushed the binds on the snakes. The human snake looks with shock and starts to launch at Ming He. Ming He then throws a punch upwards to the snake and calls it a bastard and asks if it thinks it's so smart. The big snake gets sent flying back to the wall, but Ming He isn't done and throws another punch at it. We see the hole glow for a second and then see Ming He walking away from the human snake since he killed it. He then throws up a vine to the top of the hole and says that the mist and the eggs aren't meant to be raised. He said that the demonic eggs are salts for cloud seedings, which caused a reaction with the rainwater to generate the mist. There is a lot of eggs remaining in Xiaoling, and the mist will form once it rains. The red-eyed demons are only disposable grunts, and their real purpose is to bear those eggs, wait for the rain to start, and then form a much more terrifying calamitous mist. He reaches the top of the hole and thinks to himself that it's bad. Once Xiaoling has been fully covered by the mist, no one could hope to get out alive. It's still slowly fogging up and we see a group of people including Zhang and Wang. Wang says that they're reaching the safety barricades. Zhang tells him that they must have been running for 200 meters and asks if the barricades are still so far away. He tells him that they're almost there and it will just be a bit more. They then see trees and Zhang says that they took a wrong turn. Wang said that they were seeing things and the fog is causing them to see things. Zhang tells Wang that it's over and they're never going to get out by this rate, and he also heard about the mist from his bro. Wang tells him not to scare him like that. A person says that it's true that once you're caught in the mist, it's like you've been isolated in another dimension. Another person said that's what they heard too. Another person says that during the Xishan Industrial Park incident, the residents mysteriously vanished after the mist dissipated. No one knows what happens inside the mist. A person says that they're still too young and they don't want to die and asked if anybody could help them. We see a person standing in front of the barricades and he said he saw a group of students running towards them and questions how come they haven't got in touch with them. Another person next to him says that it's no way they could have missed them since they were that close. The guy starts to yell out hey and if they could hear him and to hurry up and get behind the barricades. Another guy asked a girl if he should go look. She says sure, but she has a bad feeling about the mist. She has an idea and tells him that they will grab a rope and tie it around his waist so they won't lose track of him. He tells her that it's good thinking. A guy tells him that if anything comes up, he should pull the rope and scream loudly. He said gotcha and he will be off. The person tells him to remember to be careful and if anything goes wrong, he needs to pull the rope. He walks off and tells them that he got it. The girl is holding the rope and the guy asked how far he has gone. She tells him that he is about 200 meters in. The guy starts to yell out and call his name. He asked if he could hear him, but there's no response. The guy tells the group that it's only been 200 meters, so there's no way he can't hear him. He says that something is wrong and hurried and pulled the rope. Then the rope gets tight and then it snaps. The group looks at the snapped rope with disbelief. We then switch over to Ming He and we see him meeting up with the others. Luo tells him that with the mist being this thick, they could have easily gotten lost. Ming He asks them why they haven't gotten out of the mist without him. Fang says sorry and tells him that since they heard a female voice calling out to them, they thought someone was calling for help. He tells them that maybe the pack leader of the red-eyed demons could mimic or attempt to recreate human voices. Maybe one of them in their group tried to call for help. The black-haired girl tells them that she was the one since she tripped over a hollowed-out vine spot. Hey, no offense, but like, imagine calling for help when you trip. Like, what the heck? Ming He tells her that it's it, and he is sure that the red demon was using her voice. He tells her next time to take caution if she hears a voice like that. Lee speaks up and questions how could this be since it wasn't something that was written in the textbooks. He asks why something like that hasn't been discovered by the front lines. Luo tells them that there has been a rumor she's been hearing back from the front lines, but they haven't found any evidence. Sheng tells them that they should try contacting their professors and instructors. He then looks at his phone and sees no signal on it. Ming He questions the signal interference and then takes out a Bluetooth earpiece. Lee asks if that is a special communicator that is issued by the officials. He says that the officials have one, but questions how come Ming He has one. The commander starts talking and asks if Ming He reads her. He tells her that he reads her loud and clear. She tells him that they have failed to contact the outside. Ming He questions why she's still there and asks how is everyone else. She says that she managed to evacuate most of them, but a few students and faculty remain trapped in the mist. He tells her that if she is outside of the camping grounds, then she should have had enough time to get out, and questions if she volunteered to stay behind. She tells him that she will find a way out and to believe in her. He says that he assumes that the other instructors could also get in contact with her using the communicators. She says yes, but only within the mist-covered grounds and not the outside. Ming He tells her that he made a discovery, but he doesn't know if it will be much use in this current situation. She tells him that they need everything they could get. He tells her that the white calamitous mist is formed by the red-eyed demonic eggs. Once the eggs have contacted rainwater, they start to release a special type of gas. As soon as the gas reaches high enough to contact the moisturous air, it will generate a huge amount of mist. Something clicks in the commander's head and she says that she got it now. The thing that Ming He shared was a vital piece of intel. She tells him that there is hope of getting out of there. Ming He tells her to tell him. She tells him that there is a giant pattern centipede on the run from the Entomology Research Center. As of now, it's the only creature capable of transversing through the mist. She says that they've been tracking it for a while, but it slipped away. According to the researchers, insect eggs appear to be the centipede's preferred diet. She guesses that it's been feeding off a huge number of demonic eggs, and through that, it has developed the ability to safely transverse the mist. Ming He questions if they must start eating the eggs as well. Fang and Luo look at what Ming He just said. She tells him that those eggs are venomous and the centipede's organs help it neutralize the venom to help it digest them. She is picking off the clues from where the centipede was last seen and it's now heading towards Xiaoling. It's highly likely to be hiding within the mist. He asked if they need to go look for the giant pattern centipede and hope they could follow its tracks to escape. She tells him that he is right. Ming He said that he got it and they will begin their operation over here. We then see a group of people walking over to Ming He's group and one of the people asks if that's Ming He's voice. Ming He hears the voices and questions if it's Professor Zhang. Zhang says that it's Professor Zhang and the others and then questions their next move. Zhang tells them that he didn't think they could get out like this with all this mist. Up till now, not even the weather stations can find an explanation for its devious dimensional separation properties. Zhang says no way and asks if they are trapped in there. He says that the mist is quite terrifying from what he heard. Zhang says indeed, and the outside has no way of knowing the situation of the people within. He tells them not to get their hopes up on outside reinforcements. Ming He tells the professor that there is no need for him to be so down. He tells him that he has received word from the commander of her plans to evacuate. He says that they could get out if they put their minds together. Sean questions if what Ming He is saying is true, and Luo Chian tells him that he is telling the truth. Ming He says that they must act before anything shows up from the mist, and they need to collect as many intact demonic eggs as they can. Lee asked what good does it do to collect junk like that in a time like this. The blonde-haired girl agrees and says that it's not like they will make it out alive like that, and who even cares about the extra credit. Ming He tells everyone that those eggs are the key in making it out and they must use it as bait to lure out a specific creature. That is the only thing that can get them out of there. Ming He continues to outline the operation. Zhang says that it makes sense and Ming He says that it's the only way. He says that it will be scary to get lost in the mist, but they can't give up. Zhang says that it's well said and they will never give up. Ming He tells everyone to split up. He tells the instructor and Luo Chian to see if they could find any other students trapped in the mist. They will need to keep an eye on them and group them at the borders of the camping grounds. He tells Lee to be the demonic nest distribution. Lee will go with Fang to search for any demonic eggs they could find. He says the more the merrier since their chances will increase for attracting the giant centipede. Zhang then asks what Ming He will go do. He tells Zhang that something is lurking in the mist and he will take care of it. Zhang tells Ming He not to scare him like that since he is already trembling. Fang says that Ming He is right and something is lurking in the mist. She tells them about the train incident and the moment they came into the monster, a person got killed. Ming He tells them that either way they will need to exercise caution and the moment they see something in the mist, they need to start running. They all said alright. We see Luo and the professor and she tells him that they haven't searched the area they are in. He tells her that she is right. We then switch over to Li and he tells the other members to search over there and Fang tells them to stay in a group. We see Ming He running through the mist. The commander says that she opened the communication channels and then tells all the combat units to respond. We see instructor Zhu Qi, Xing He, Miao Lan, Jing Xing, Fang Qin, and Guo Min. They are all awaiting their orders. Ming He says that he is a Dragon Tooth agent and he is awaiting his orders. Miao says Dragon Tooth and questions Ming He. She says that he is the student who kept up with her in the morning run without breaking a sweat. Someone on the line asked for permission to use the mutant distribution map, which was granted. The commander says that she will report on the mutant activities within a 3-kilometer radius inside the mist. She says that there are no signs of mutants from the mist. Ming He then asks the commander what the matter is. She says the lower valley, the upper stream, and the peak. She detected signals of mistborn mutants where she called out. She says that a second ago there wasn't a signal within the 3-kilometer radius. She is sure that no creature could move that fast. Ming He questions which direction they are coming from. She tells him that they aren't coming from anywhere, but they just popped out of nowhere. She then says to hold and calls out Fang Qin's name. She tells her that a huge calamity beast is nearby and to get out of there. We see Fang Qin and she turns around to see a giant skull-looking spider. She then throws shurikens at the monster, but they didn't do anything. She thinks to herself that it's no use, and then the spider starts to run towards her. She starts to run away and says that the commander's analysis was on point. I am kinda curious on how they could actually track these monsters throughout all the mist, especially since it's interrupting their telecommunication or signals, whatever, right? So it's just kind of interesting to know that she could track their exact location, you know? She said that the mistborn mutants came out of thin air and there should be some sort of portal lurking within the mist. The commander tells her to keep running around the forest outskirts and then she calls Zhu Qi to back her up. Fang Qin thinks to herself about the outside forest which lies the camping grounds. She turns around while running and says that the mutant's reported name is listed as a spider formation. She calls it a lord rank and we see the spider catching up to her. She says that she is afraid that it's way out of her league. The commander tells her to keep running around the forest outskirts, but Fang is running in the wrong direction. She tells the commander farewell. Luo Lin calls out her name and then she sees her tracker disappear. She starts to cry a little and says that Fang Qin has led the calamity beast away and has fulfilled her duties. She tells all the units to immediately head to the marked location and begin observing the mist activities. She has an angry look on her face and she says that once there is no signs of mutants approaching, they need to team up immediately and not to leave any one of them alive. We switch over to the valley area and Ming He is sitting down. He says that their current understanding of the mistborn beast is limited. They've seen a calamity beast capable of disguising as a woman and a calamity beast that can mimic a human's cry for help. They then seen a spider formation lord rank beast. He believes that Fang Qin sacrificed herself to lead such a powerful calamity beast away from the grounds. The sole purpose of those monsters is to kill, and their most terrifying asset is the ability to think. He says that it seems like they learned from their past experiences. Luo Lin tells Ming He that a beast is coming from his west. Ming He looks at the mist and then sees a shadowy figure. Then a mutant scorpion fly comes out, which is a servant rank threat. Luo Lin tells Ming He that a whole bunch of them appeared out of nowhere and they are everywhere. She says that some of them are behind him, but Ming He says that it isn't possible since he checked his back. He dodges the attack from the first fly and then he sees a group of them surrounding him. We see Ming He and he calls the flies a servant rank. He then punches them, which splits them in half. He says that it doesn't matter how many of them come at him since he will kill all of them. More of the flies start to rush over at Ming He, but he continues to throw punches at them. He kills them all and he starts to use his swift shadow fist. The flies notice what Ming He is doing, so they start to charge at him, but Ming He then throws a punch down to the ground. That punch caused them to get killed and rocks get sent flying everywhere. Ming He then lifts up his fist from the ground and we see more of them coming. Ming He questions if he poked a fly nest. Luo Lin tells him that he most likely won't be able to kill every single one of them. He then asked what he should do since it seems they could sniff out the scent of his body. No matter what, they will keep coming for him and we see a crap ton of flies coming at him. Luo Lin tells him that she's been observing how the insects appear. The flies are all coming from a certain place. She tells him that there seems to be a den in the south of him. All of the flies are coming from there. Ming He tells her that there are already more than a dozen insects where he is at. He asked if there are hundreds of insects in that cave. She tells him no, since the map only shows a few dozen red dots. She says there is like an insect factory near him that keeps producing flies instantly. She says that once he kills one of the flies in the front, the factory produces another batch. Ming He asked how come it happens in such a short time since he's been killing a ton of them. He asked how long it would take for the flies to fill up the entire valley if he wasn't here. She tells him that if the army of flies formed, not only will a lot of people die, but the whole valley will be eaten up and destroyed. She says that she underestimated them and the calamity beast isn't that simple. She tells him that the valley is their gathering point. She will leave protecting the valley to him since the other instructors are facing similar danger, so she will have to guide them. He tells her to leave it to him as he is still killing the flies. She tells him that although he is a member of Dragon Tooth, he is still a student. He is taking heavy responsibility as an official representative and she tells him that she is sorry. She calls him exceptionally outstanding and she tells him to tell her that he will survive. While he is still fighting, he tells her that the instructors and her are staying back for them and they have his gratitude. He then rushes in a herd of flies and he is starting to kill them all. Ming He stopped and he saw a weird looking portal thing. He says that this should be what Luo Lin said, which is the insect factory. Ming He sees some of the flies start to come out the portal. Ming He says stifle the wind and he learned this move from his old classmate Fan Kai. He then takes a step and tells all the insects to die. He throws a wind punch at the insects which causes them to hit the wall and die. He managed to kill the ones that came out the portal. He starts to walk to the portal as the flies fall from the sky. He is standing in front of the portal and he puts half of his body inside. He then moves back and questions if this portal is a passage to another dimension. A fly comes out the portal and Ming He says that he got it. The fly comes back around to Ming He, but he easily sliced it in half. He says that this portal isn't an insect factory and it's an unknown portal that leads to the mist. He thinks that those strange monsters most likely used the portal to appear here. He starts to wonder what's inside and then questions what's on the other side of this wormhole. He then walks in the portal. Ming He crosses the portal and it looks like he is in a cave. Ming He looks worried and he sees floating rocks with spider mutants on them. Then a dragon comes out of nowhere and eats one of the spider mutants. The dragon appears to be a fire one and then it flies off. The dragon looks down and sees a large looking dragon which is over Ming He. By the way, just to keep it a buck with you guys, I really don't know if that's a dragon, but I'm just gonna assume it is and we're gonna roll with it, so it's all good. Some of the rocks start to slip off and fall to the ground because of the dragon. We then see a large group of flies and they notice Ming He. The goddess starts to get worried and asks Ming He if he is crazy. She asked him how he even ended up there and he needs to leave right now. Ming He questions the place, but the goddess tells him to leave before he dies miserably. Ming He then snaps back to reality and starts to dip out of there. He is running while the flies are starting to chase after him. The goddess tells him to hurry and she will shatter the wormhole. So she starts to use her powers and Ming He made it out the wormhole, which starts to close because of the goddess. We then switch over to Fang and we see the calamity beast that Ming He almost killed at the train is now back. The monster tells Fang that they will combine, which they start doing. We then switch over to the group and one of the guys question where they should go since of this fog. Another guy noticed something coming out the fog. They then see Fang and they start getting excited to see her. One of the guys say that they are finally saved and tells Fang that they encountered a lot of monsters and they tried to run over there to escape. The guys asked why Fang is so quiet. We then see Fang with sharp teeth and she starts to launch at the guy. She bites the guy and he falls to the floor while bleeding out. The others in the group say that she isn't the instructor and they ask for help. The monster starts to launch her tentacles at the group, which captures a couple of them. We switch over and we see two people running, which one of them trips. The girl that was in front sees Jing on the floor and she goes over to her and tells her to get up. Jing tells the girl that her leg and she doesn't think she will make it as the other girl lifts her up and starts to walk. A couple of tentacles come out of nowhere and grab the girls. The monster pulls them both in while she is starting to smile. We see both the girls crying and we then see the monster walking away without either of them. We switch over to a camp where Luo Lin is at and we see a guy going in the tent. Luo Lin starts to question if Fang Quinn is there and tells her to please answer her. She asked if Fang is injured and why she can't speak. Luo Lin tells her to continue moving forward so she will meet up with Ming He and he should be able to help her. The girl next to her asked if Fang Quinn is dead since her blue dot disappeared. When the dot disappears, that means the host vital signs disappeared and she questions if the device malfunctioned. Luo Lin tells the girl that she doesn't know, but Fang Quinn is a member of their team and if she is alive, they can't abandon her. She does think something is fishy since the chances of the device malfunctioning are low in her experience. The girl says that that's impossible and how could something be in the fog? The commander says that it's best to be on the safe side and she will tell Ming He to act with caution. She then sees Ming He's marker disappear and questions how could that be possible. The lady asked Luo Lin if Ming He is dead. She then sees the marker come back up and she tries to tell Ming He to respond. The lady tells her that the device is displaying communication interference. She says that something might be interfering with the communication channels. Luo Lin says that it's not working at a time like this. They then hear a person running in and calling their name. The person told them that Fang Qin killed their classmates and we see the instructor nodding in agreement. Luo Lin then gets worried and calls Ming He's name. She tells him to please respond and the person that is heading towards him isn't Fang Qin. She is being controlled by something and she tells him again and asks him if he could hear her. She says that the thing approaching him is dangerous. We see Ming He sitting down on the dirt. The goddess tells him that he is lucky that he woke up in time. If he took any longer, his soul would have been gone. She tells him the world he was in is filled with the unknown and it's something that a human should never see. Ming He tells her that it felt like he was looking into hell and he was also very careless. She tells him to cheer up now since he is fine and once he is strong enough, he will be able to walk through those places like nothing. He then takes a deep breath and says, okay. He admits that he was a little scared, but that won't stop him. He then touches his communicator and says that his rash decision made his device break. We then see Fang Qin behind Ming He. He noticed her and calls her name. He says that it's a good thing that she didn't die. Fang then tells Ming He that she is injured and to help her. He says okay and then sees her eyes. He questioned what happened since they're dripping blood. She starts to wipe her eyes and tells him that it's just an injury. She then asked if he could carry her since she has no strength left to move. Ming He then looks at her shoes and questions why they aren't wet. He tells her that in order to get to where he is, she would need to cross the river. With her current condition she is in, it would have been hard for her to cross the river without getting wet. He then sees Fang starting to attack, but Ming He managed to jump back. He says that sure enough, something was wrong. The mutated monster starts to shed half of Fang's skin and we see the ugly looking Medusa monster. He remembers that it was the same monster that was on the train that day. He understands that it can swallow and absorb the bodies of the people she captured. It did it back then with the train attendant's appearance and blended in with the people on the train. He says that the real Fang Chin has already died and this monster swallowed Fang's corpse then turned into her. He calls it a sinister monster and it could do a good job at disguising herself. If he hadn't seen the blood-red eyes, he most likely wouldn't have been on guard. The monster tells him that his instructor tasted sweet. Ming He thinks to himself that she is using Fang Chin's voice and questions if it could also emulate a person's voice. He then calls it a bastard and tells her that he won't forgive her. She says that's her line while sending her whip-like hairs at him. She calls him a filthy human while Ming He dodges the attack. She remembers that he defiled her before and this time she will devour him whole. Ming He continues to dodge the attacks and he says that her patterns are like the tree demons in the training room. He said that it's a good thing he kept up with his training. He is thinking about finding a gap between its attacks and then trying to counterattack. He then jumps up on a tree and thinks of finding a medium first for his mystic fist. He knows that an ordinary fist technique won't be able to kill it. The monster's hairs start to grow longer and turns a black color. She says that it's thanks to his instructor that she has gotten stronger. She throws an attack at him which broke the tree he was on. Ming He lands on a rock, but the monster is still attacking while Ming He continues to dodge. The monster says that she will become even stronger while sending another whip-like attack at Ming He. He managed to dodge the attack and she tells him to take this and also saying stronger. Ming He then grabs some dirt and uses his mystic art. The monster starts to launch over at him, but Ming He throws a flying bubbly attack at the monster which made her get sent flying back. He says that his mystic fist medium wasn't thick enough and he won't be able to kill it. The monster questions if that's all Ming He got. She then launches over at him again while telling him that his instructor will be disappointed. Ming He uses both of his hands and puts them on the dirt. He uses the dirt to cover his arms to block the attack from the monster. She continues to throw attacks while Ming He is blocking them. She says that the way humans fight is so predictable. She then uses one of Fang's attacks. She also managed to predict what Ming He was going to do, which was retreat from the attack. She managed to guess right, and while he retreated, she had another attack waiting for him. Luckily, he saw it in time and slid enough to avoid a fatal blow from the attack. She calls him lucky since he dodged all of that while she retracted her attack with Ming He's blood on it. She licks the blood and calls it robust and he will be much tastier than Fang. He tells her that she makes him feel sick. He thinks about the amount of blows he landed on her, which was only 13 times. He still needs around 49 fist marks and he won't be able to use his ultimate soul art just yet. He also thinks about how the monster predicted his movements. He is thinking about keeping his distance since it will be dangerous up close, and if he didn't have his luck power, the last attack would have pierced through his stomach. He says that his luck can't keep saving him and then gets into a fighting stance. He thinks about finding a medium for his mystic fist because ordinary dirt won't work. The monster has one of her attacks digging under the dirt, which then gets sent at Ming He. We see Ming He is about to be hit by an attack from the monster, but he quickly dodges it. The monster then digs into the ground for another set of attacks, but Ming He dodges them left and right. He thinks to himself about how obsidian is 10 times stronger than your average mineral. He remembers the morning training sessions with the instructors, and he saw an obsidian mine in one of the back valleys. He says that with the thick fog, it's going to be hard for him to see the entrance. He does remember a withering tree around the area where the obsidian is at. He then leaps off from a tree and sees the withering tree in the air. The monster asks Ming He if he thinks he could run away as she jumps towards him. Ming He notices her, and they both run while the monster tells him that he can't run away from her and she will devour him. It's kind of crazy how she still hasn't learned her lesson from last time. Like, she got smoked, but this time she's like, nah, I'm stronger. But she didn't realize that our boy is the main character, and he's also getting stronger day by day with the goddess inside of him. So Ming He then finds the mine and goes over to it and uses his mystic art. The monster sees Ming He and tells him that he won't be able to hurt her with those fists. Ming He asked if she thinks she is smart and tells her to take this. Ming He then punches the ground, which sends cracks throughout it. The monster sees what is happening but didn't react fast enough and gets stabbed with the attack. Ming He comes over to her and tells her that he did say that he will never forgive her. She then questions how he even did that attack. He tells her that it doesn't matter what they are or how strong they are in their monster kingdom. If they choose to invade the humans, he will destroy every one of them. She tells him that he can't escape from this place and he will die, and she also says that he will never leave this mist alive. She then said her final words and coughs and dies. Ming He then releases the monster from his attack, and the monster then falls to the ground. He then sees a green-looking teardrop coming out from the monster and questions what it is. Out of nowhere, the goddess then tells him that it's a life drop. Ming He questions if it's the same one that could grant and alter another superpower. She tells him that he is correct, and this monster was an azure moon demonic monster, which is a high level for a beast. She says that it was still in its growing stage, and that's when he killed it. He tells her that this monster wasn't that threatening when he first ran into it, but it's stronger this time around. He then grabs the life drop while saying that he nearly lost his life to it. She tells him that the intelligent growing types of monsters are the scariest. If they are given the ample time to develop, then they might grow into an azure moon demonic matriarch. He thinks that's the reason why such a precious life drop could be found. The goddess tells him to hurry up and give it to her so she could purify it for him. She says that there is still a lingering sense of the calamity beast from the start, so we can't use it just yet. He says sure, but then hesitates and questions if she is relying on his personal growth. He says that he feels like she is a lot more impressive than this monster he just killed. She tells him that the monster he faced can't even compare to her. She then reminds him about the agreement they have, and because of that, she will be backing him. She says that he is the one that is going to show her this beautiful world and the meaning of human existence. She says that they are both reaching an agreement and there is still a way to go before he could change her views. He says that she will back him up until he gets more powerful enough to face the Supreme Universal once it descends upon them. She says that he is right and they did make a promise. She will be counting on his growth and he will be counting on her strengthening. The sight he saw at the end of the portal, but then the goddess asked him if he was having a hard time believing in himself. He then says he has faith and she tells him to forget what he saw earlier. She tells him that she isn't too fond of that portal place as well, since it's a lot more disgusting and primal compared to this world. He then gives the life drop and tells her that they did make a promise. He then looks at Fang Chen's body and lifts her up and puts her on his back. Ming He then hears the commander calling Ming He's name, and she tells him to please respond. He tells her that he could hear her loud and clear and to give him his orders. She asked if he ran into Fang Quinn, and he tells her yes, and he is carrying her back to the camping grounds. Luo Lin asked if she is confirmed to be dead. He tells her that she is, but he didn't want to leave her somewhere where the monsters could come and have their way with her. She asked him if he is alright and tells him that the thing was controlling Fang Chen's movements. He tells her that the rank of the monster and the ability to devour and gain abilities of the people she devours. He tells her that he just killed it and she said that it's good to hear. He then switches the topic and asked about the eggs and if they are all gathered up since they need to get out of there fast. He then tells her about the dimension he went to and the horrifying sight he saw. He tells her that if they descended upon them, there will be nothing left of humans. He says that they are getting close and asked if he is regrouping. She says the path he is heading towards is clear and then says alright. We switch over to see tall grass and see multiple people. One of them asks Shu why they haven't arrived at the village yet since they've been walking for so long. Shu then punches the dude on the head and starts to yell at him. He says that it's all his fault and it was his idea to steal the demon eggs for money. The man tells Shu that they didn't go that far and they didn't know that they would get lost in the fog. Shu says that if they can't go back now, they will be in big trouble. A guy in the back of the three asks them if they feel something is following them. Shu tells them to stop being so paranoid. Then they both tell Shu that something is behind him and they all grab each other while screaming. We see that it's some professor and other people. The professor is Zhang, and he questions the group if they are from the village. The girl next to him asked how they managed to get out of here. Shu says that they scared him since they thought they were demons. The girl tells them that no one is allowed to enter the mountains and asked if they didn't receive any notice. Shu starts to be completely honest with them and says that they wanted to earn some money. He said normal eggs are cheap, but these eggs are more than 100 times more money. He thought all the demons were wiped out and they came here to find the eggs. Zhang asked if those are all demon eggs, which they said yes to, and shows them the 3 big bagfuls of them. Zhang gets excited and tells them that this is excellent and they should hurry back to the camp. He then switches the topic over to Luo Chian. He asked about her situation and what it looks like. The girl tells him that she saw a mark from her telling them that she is looking for the last group of students that got separated. Luo Chian will meet up with them at the foot of the mountain in around an hour. Zhang says that it will take them some time to get there, and they will first meet up with Luo Chian and then head back to the camp together. The girl tells everyone to follow them. The guy that got punched in the head asks Zhang if they are all superhumans. He also asked if he could check if there is something behind them. Zhang asked why, and the guys tells him that they think something is following them and it's giving them chills. The girl tells Zhang that she just conducted a sweep around the area and she didn't find anything. If she had found something, she wouldn't have came back. Zhang tells them that they should do another sweep, which she then agreed. We then switch over to someone running fast in the forest. We saw a building and then we saw Luo Chian. She sees a group of people in the house and they are all surprised and happy to see her. She asked if they are all okay and if anyone's injured. They said no, but something was chasing them just now and it was terrifying. She says okay and tells them to follow her since they'll be going back to the main camp and leave the fog. They say thank you and we start seeing them move to different locations. First it was a cave, then it was a Greek, next it was the bamboo forest. Luo Chian stopped and saw a mark on a bamboo tree. She thinks to herself about how the students that got separated have been found. All they need to do is follow these markings and meet up with Zhang and the rest. Luo tells them to follow closely and they will need to stay together. She then halts and uses her power to electrify something that was coming after her. She tells everyone to look up, which they do, and they see a bunch of spiders. One of them starts to leap over to the group, but Luo is quick and she starts to use her power. The whole area gets electrified from her power, which kills them all. One of the people in the group says that she is amazing. They had a hard time just dealing with one of them, but Luo Chian took out all of them by herself. They asked if they could even reach her level, and she is so strong. We then see a large leg-looking thing smack the ground. Luo Chian's group meets up with Zhang and the others. A girl asks Zhang about the fog and why there are so many scary things inside. Another student said that they saw a student get dragged away and questions if it was a demon. He then asked if all the demons in Xiaoling were wiped out. Zhang tells them that things in the mist appear through a different way and they can't stay there for long since stronger demons will come there soon. Luo Chian tells them that they have already found a way out, but they all need to work together. Zhang tells everyone that they are also superhumans and they are not just students. What they all have faced is something that every superhuman will have to face on the front lines, so they need to pull themselves together. All the students start to smile and look with confidence. Zhang says let's go, and they are on the final stretch since they are about to reach the camp. Some of the students see all the monster corpses. There were so many demon bodies, and if they would have ran into them, they most likely would have died. They questioned who killed them, and another person tells them to look. Luo Chian and Zhang see Miao land with shock on their faces. Miao tells them to hurry up and return to camp since everyone is waiting. Luo Chian asked if she is okay since she is heavily injured. She tells Luo that it's nothing and she is just a little tired. She says that she needs a little rest and she will be good as new. Out of nowhere, she then gets stabbed in the chest by a large spider. The spider lifts her up and Miao drops her weapon. They called out her name, but the spider opens its mouth and I'm assuming she gets eaten. The group looks with fear and some of the students start to run away. The spider shoots its spider webs, which catches the students that started to run. They say that they are trapped and they can't escape. The girl questions if something was following them and how come it didn't attack them earlier. Zhang says that the monster was waiting for them to group up since it wanted to kill them all at once, just like an anteater. Luo Chian questions what he meant by an anteater. Zhang tells her that when an anteater finds ants, it won't kill them even if it's hungry. It will instead hide and trail the ants. Those ants will lead the anteater to their nest and then wipe out the entire nest, including the ones from before. The ants have a special way to communicate, so when one is attacked, the others will send an alert to the others telling it to flee. Luo Chian says that she sees and that monster is treating them like ants and it's playing with them. It was waiting for enough people to show up just to attack and eat them all at once. Zhang tells her that she is correct. Luo says that the monster chose to attack them here instead of at the camp. The monster knows that stronger humans are guarding their camp and it's afraid, which means the monster isn't invincible. Luo Chian tells Zhang and Liu to help free the others and she will go deal with the monster. Liu tells her that she knows she is strong, but she still needs to be careful. The spider then raises its arms and slams the ground. Spikes then come out of the ground at Luo Chian, but she jumps through and passes them. The spider continues to send spikes at Luo Chian. Zhang thinks to himself that Luo Chian should be ranked second best in combat. She is also the pride and joy of the Nandu's Superhuman Institute. Any other student would have been petrified and unable to react. I mean, besides our boy Ming He, let's be for real, like this dude would have instantly screwed him up. He hopes that Luo Chian could buy them some time. We see Luo continuing to dodge the attacks and she thinks to herself about what the spider is trying to do. The spider then gets up and slams the ground, which sends many spikes at Luo Chian. The attack didn't matter and she continues to do a good job at dodging them all. She then looks at the ground and senses danger. a large amount of spikes pop out from the ground and Luo and Zhang think Luo Chian might have just died. Then they see Luo Chian in the air and Zhang tells Luo that they need to hurry up. He tells her to believe in Luo Chian. We see Luo Chian getting close to the monster, but she had to back off since it spat out webs. Luo then uses a Thunder Hawk attack which did some damage. She then acts like Thor and calls Meow's spear to her. She grabs it and then throws the spear next to the spider. It lands and then she electrocutes the spider. She then goes up to the spider and punches it in the stomach. The spider then shoots out some liquid from its teeth. She sees the liquid, but then she sees Zhang running over. He tells her to quickly come over to her while he is starting to use his power. His power puts up a shield to block an acid rain. He tells her that they have already freed half of the students. Luo Chian tells him that she already injured the Skull Widow and they have hope of escaping. Zhang says sorry since all he could do is provide cover since he is unable to fight the monster head on. Luo Chian says that it's okay and protecting her fellow students is also her duty. The students say that this isn't good and questions where all the spiders came from. The students see the spiders eating the monsters that Meow killed and the girl says that they are disgusting. Luo sees them and questions why they're eating their own brethren. All of the spiders are done eating the other monsters and start to head towards the big spider. The big spider then opens its mouth and the little spiders start to feed themselves to it. The group sees what it's doing and sees that it healed itself from eating its own. They asked if Luo Chian's hard work was for nothing since it wasn't easily injured. Zhang tells them that they are all superhumans and they all have powers. They need to work together so they could get out of this mess. How could they let Luo Chian fight all alone even after she already did so much for them? Luo Chian tells Zhang not to blame them since it has fearsome aura of a lord rank. It had already embedded seeds of fear into their minds. It's using everyone's terror to nourish those seeds of fear. It has taken root in their minds and once strength hasn't reached at least a Sunblaze rank, they won't be able to resist it. Leo asked what they should do then. Luo Chian asked if Zhang could break out of this spiderweb and he says yes, but they are still students trapped in there. He says that they can't abandon them. Luo Chian says that the Skull Widow can recover so killing won't be feasible. She tells Zhang and Liao to take the students and leave since she will hold back the monster. Zhang questions her since once they leave the Skull Widow, there will be spider demons that will surround her and she won't be able to escape. She says that she has a way and tells Zhang that it's her choice and her duty. She believes that her classmates will grow up and in the future when their own classmates are in danger, they will stand up and fight. Luo Chian then walks towards the spider while Zhang and Liu look at her. Thank you all for watching and I hope you all enjoyed this video.